Hello and welcome to a much delayed third session. What was intended to be 5, but now it's 3 because this is 2020 and it is the year that keeps on giving right up until the last day. And here we are, the next to last day of this hell year. I don't really want to look back at videos from the beginning of the year because I suspect my beard is less gray at the beginning of this year than it is right now. In any case, we're playing 7th Sea, 2nd edition, sort of. We're building off of the materials that are in there, but I converted over to a system that looks a little bit more like West End Games D6 or Corandon, basically a success pool with the sort of discrete actions on that against a difficulty number. There's some minor modifications, but allows us to use a lot of the stuff from the core system without too much change. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, the Gauntlet Calendar, as we're rebranding in 2021 since there is no more Hangouts. So there we go. In any case, you can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. If you like watching AP videos and you may have been like, oh, I'd like to see a 7th Sea video, and then you came and watched this and you were disappointed, well, we have a whole bunch of other videos on our channel, so maybe we have something you would dig. Just thought I'd put that out there. So I'm going to have the players reintroduce their characters real quickly, and then I'm going to frame up where we're at because we're about to roll right into the action, as it were. So let us start with not our captain, but in fact, our ship's owner. Tyler, if you could please tell us about Lord Cavendish.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Spencer Lord Cavendish, who is the owner of our ship, the Bonnie Queen Ellie. And he is an Avalonian, and a good, solid patriot, and believes fully in Queen and country, but his deep passion is scholarship, and that is what he has dedicated his life to. But being a good Avalonian means you have to go out and do legendary things and do amazing stuff. And so to try and pull his passions together, he decided to buy a ship, become a privateer, so he can both help his country and, more importantly, learn more about the world. He also happens to be one of the legendary knights. He has within him the embodiment of one of the ancient knights of Avalon.
Excellent. And that brings us to Tero?
Tero. Yeah. So Tero is from Numa, which is the Greek counterpart in Thea. Their concept is Myrmidon. Tero is a fine fencer of the, let's see here, the Ambrosia School Academy. So that's essentially dagger in your right hand, fencing sword in your left. So it's a striking one. It's a, how do you say, a little scandalous, particularly because Tero is fairly ambiguous in their appearance. So they go by they, them. Also, their background is docent. Tero came with the ship in order to fund their travels in Thea. They took a loan from a shipmaker. They are fine ship's armsmen, and when they were done with their travels, they came back to the ship to serve on the ship as part of its feature for some time to pay back those debts.
And last but not least, Osran.
Hi, Patrick, he, him, and I'm playing Osran Sokolov, also he, him. He is a character from the Sarmatian Commonwealth, and for the concept I went with Genis? I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's random sounds I made. English translation would be a soothsayer. But he has a demon, a dievas, held within him, kept from influencing the world. All it can really do is just influence him. And he's made some small deals with it to gain influence over sea and stormy type stuff. But the demon has held on to most of its cards thus far. He works as the quartermaster on the ship, keeping everything well oiled and resewn and well repaired. He takes a sort of meditative approach to his work on the ship. Let's see, I earn hero points for using something evil for good, for solving a problem for someone else on my crew, and for refusing to use magic-y stuff, even though it might be easier. And I've got my virtue, my temperance, where I can shrug off magical effects. Otherwise, he's good with his hands, he's good with languages, he's good on the ship.
Excellent. Now, your ship had arrived at the port of San Sancha. And when you arrived there, you were met by an agent of Avalon who informed you that a spy had made off with some sort of report, intelligence map. Again, the Avalonian agent who asked you about this, who told you about this, was particularly unclear in their statements. But basically, this was an agent, apparently of Montaigne, that had, by way of Innismore, sort of the Innish ports, had, rather than heading to Montaigne, had come out here to the Atabian Sea and was apparently meeting someone here to hand off this information. Now, you don't have a good deal of knowledge of what this person looks like. Essentially, you're basing this on cues and behavior to find this person. They are going to be at the salon of one lady, Sarah Bernardino. She is of Castilian extraction. Her husband is from Vodache. And she has these salons here in San Sancha. And you have wheedled an invitation at this point for some of you to get into this meeting. And you also kind of checked in her general behavior, her faithfulness, things like that. And that is happening this evening. And to give yourselves backup, Lord Cavendish hit the streets and tracked down a band of clever and reasonably loyal Utes to essentially stand watch outside, such that should someone come rushing out, attempting to make an escape, they will intercede to stop them. And you checked a little bit into this. You found out about two other people who will be at this salon, a couple of names. One, you found out that there is an Atabian ship's captain by the name of Captain Granquist, who is supposedly going to be there. And you also heard that a scofflaw duelist by the name of Chiaramentaro is also going to be present. You know there will be other people there, but those were a couple of names that you picked up to do this. Now, Tyler, remind me of how you presented yourself to get this invite? And if
Well,
you can't remember, just wing it.
well, I went with our itinerant priest, and it had been our priest who had arranged to get us both access to come in. And so that was our entree.
And we will still play with that. Essentially, our priest, who is not present with us this evening, will be an NPC. And what is the plan for our two other members of the party as to how they wish to handle things? What about you, Osrin?
And just to remind folks, I did do a bit of scouting to see like places there that would be, it's a place that's easy to get out of, but had done a bit of scouting and had reported back to everyone a little bit of the entrance exits of the place.
Gotcha.
Are you planning on hopping the wall? Are you planning on trying to talk your way in? Are you planning on just following behind Lord Cavendish? I will say it'd be no problem for Cavendish to get either or both of you in, but I want to make sure that you don't have another tactic you'd like to take to set yourself up in a different way.
No. I mean, I probably have other ways I could get in, but they'd be unnecessarily over the top, and I don't really see the payoff for them.
Okay. And you, Tyro?
Taro is perfectly happy to go along with the captain as the captain wishes, or to hang about outside and jump whoever is indicated as the spy. Either one. Taro will look excellent and dashing wherever Taro is.
Ooh, Osrin will look schlubby and ill-fitted wherever he is.
You say that, but you're a striking figure.
Oh, sure. It's just, it doesn't matter how fancy the clothes you try and put on him. They never seem to quite fit right. They acquire stains and rubs instantly, and he just doesn't know how to stand up all the way straight.
So, Lord Cavendish, how do you want to, assuming that Osrin is following with you, Taro, do you want them to also in your entourage or to wait outside?
Taro, I have to admit that it seems as though we have far too many exits for there to be a suitable one for you to stand guard over. I would bow to your greater knowledge of in the pugilistic arts, not something I particularly well suited for. But do you feel that you could reach an area quickly from outside, or do you think that you would perhaps be better suited by our side until we locate the individual?
Taro say, I can catch them from wherever they start. Say the word, sir.
Oh, but then I think perhaps we should all go together. That way, perhaps we can mingle about, find our quarry, and then, well, pounce, as it were.
I will be ready to pounce, sir. Wow.
And so, after a little money spent to clean yourselves up decently,
Unnecessary, but yes.
you will head into San Sancha as evening falls, and you will arrive at that neighborhood. There's already the sound of music. You can see the lanterns going in the gardens outside, and when you arrive, you are essentially on the guest list, Lord Cavendish. So the uh, uh, person at the door will let you in. Kind of does note who's with you, and you'll head in, and it's a mixed crowd. We talked last time about the fact that San Sancha is kind of a crossroads and neutral in the sort of the tensions between Castile and the Montaigne and Avalon, and of course the Vestiniamer trade organizations and so on. We've got lots of different people here, most of them clearly locals, dressed up, that have come. There are tables out in the gardens. There are essentially the equivalent of tiki torches out there. And then the household itself, it's that sort of Spanish open air, stone arch, great long, flat, open areas out there. There are some gauze curtains to keep the worst of the bugs out. And they've got those beautifully hand painted tiles that make up. So every tile is that kind of painted in a pattern and glazed very carefully in the kind of the blues and whites that are colors that the dyes and tints around here are well known for. Things you can't get back, colors you can't get back that in this vibrancy right now back in Thea itself. And there are lots of people moving around and about. You will be able to very quickly spot both the captain and the duelist. The duelist is, of course, surrounded by a handful of admiring young bravos, and she clearly is rolling her eyes at them. And the captain is surrounded by a number of young ladies of uh, the port that are hanging on his every word. And there are various other people. Clearly, she has invited scholars and makers and explorers and things like that to discuss news of the day and those kinds of things as well. So let's start with you, Lord Cavendish. How do you want to approach this? What is it you want to do here?
I will mention first to the crew. We know that our quarry is quite the master of disguise, and while they were presumed Abalone in the beginning, we cannot take for granted that they will speak as such now. It may be in our best interest to keep an eye out for the Montaigne, since it is presumably to them that they will be delivering their package. But that is not certain either. Perhaps splitting up and having our ears to the ground, as it were, would be to our best advantage. If we see or hear anything, then give a bit of a halloo. And I will begin circulating around, primarily seeing if I can see. Now, the duelist is here as kind of a guest of honor, right?
He's one of the guests, like you, a guest who's been invited.
Okay, okay. But neither her nor the captain are the ones we're presuming are the ones that are the drop-off person.
You have no idea.
No idea. No idea. Okay.
You do know that the person that you're looking for that has the materials, it's been told to you, does have some sort of glamour disguise.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Then I think I'm going to begin circulating around and just trying to, at this point, listen into conversation, see if I catch anything in particular that might be suspicious, and and maybe in particular looking to see if I see any Montaigne in this first pass.
All right. Well, let's have you roll. It feels like notice
Okay.
or empathy, either one of those.
All right. Let me pull up the roller, which I should have done earlier. All right. So, and sign in. Notice and
That or empathy. And then what trait do you think is appropriate for this? Are you doing this with caution for finesse, or are you blending in by being loud with panache, or something else?
I think this might be more like wits. I'm trying to pick
Sure.
out things in this that would be most suspicious.
So that's 6 dice, and it's the first time you've used notice in this scene. So 7 dice.
All right. All right. So 7 dice. That's a nice, good roll. And it's D6s. And come on, roll well. 2 5s, a 4, a 6, and a 1.
Okay. So that looks like you've got 4 dice that are 4 plus, 4 successes. So one of the things you'll definitely pick up is a good deal of the conversation around here is the kind of fluffery that you would expect, but there's an undercurrent of tension. Certainly, people are talking about the vanishings of those experts, and they talk about the mystery of Nostromo, of the village that apparently everyone vanished from, and there's some talk about that, and because it has just gotten into circulation, people are starting to retell about the mysterious destruction of an Atabian merchant ship. Someone may have gone out and passed that information on, and that has come back here. That is very vaguely spoken of, and I think that you will. I'm going to tell you 3 things. Two of them are, there are 2 people in here that their appearance, behavior, things, there's a kind of weird sync up between how they seem to carry themselves and how people treat them and so on. One is this young woman who is off to the side, who's seated by herself, who speaks with people from time to time. You're not sure, unclear how she is here. She's referred to as Marcia, and she seems to be blind. But you think that might actually be an act, because she's clearly her the way she reacts to things, that they have the sense that maybe that is an attempt to allay suspicion by passing yourself off as that. The other person is actually Captain Granquist himself. He's Atabian, but his speech is a little bit smoother than you would expect. He doesn't have, the sort of the full northern Thayan accent that you would expect. His choice of words is a little bit different. You're a linguist, So those things both feel just a bit off to you. Does that seem like fair?
Just to ask real quick on him, now I know his ship, right? I mean, we know of when he came in, or do I not know any of that?
You know that you heard that an Atavian captain was going to be here, but I don't think anybody ran
Nothing
that
else about
down.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other thing, this is your extra success, you will see is that there is, as you kind of step into the main house itself, where there are some tables and seats and things like that, and servants are going back and forth out through here, out to the outside to place food. There is an enormous fireplace, more ceremonial than that because it doesn't get that cold here. But it, maybe even a cooking fire. But over the fireplace is a beautiful Avalonian sword.
Oh,
Silver, gorgeous, old. Like you walk up to it and you see some of the sigils on it. You can tell it's several hundred years old, well out of date. Like it's not like a modern sword. And it's just beautifully cared for. There's a scabbard that's there with little gold and inlaid, and it's right over that mantle place.
oh my! Oh goodness gracious! Huh. Oh, I don't suppose it's stealing when you liberate something of your own country, now, is it?
There are certain rationales that one could do with that. Let's come with Osrin.
I think as Lord Cavendish turns to go, and I'm assuming Taro turns to go off on their own search, Osrin will grab Taro's sleeve and sort of turn them back to him. And he has this like downcast look in his eyes, and his eyes are darting back and forth like towards floor level. And he says, I mean, you don't suppose this isn't one of those, we don't have to dance here, do we?
And Taro looks around because it sort of alarms Taro as well. And he's like, no. The musicians it would be inconvenient to dance.
Good. I was just worried. Lord Cavendish, he keeps threatening to drag me to these parties where they have dancing and their lines, and I don't understand it.
I don't think that you would be obligated, Osrin.
Okay, but even if like some sort of group dancing starts up.
Right. It would only be if a young lady asked you.
What do I do if they do?
Just run, Osrin.
Wise. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Now, when the people here look at you as you move through here, Osrin, what do they see? Do they see a man of the sea, mysterious, with the hood up, kind of keeping to himself, or do they see more a nervous a fish out of water fellow?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of that, like these clothes don't suit him well, that he keeps like pulling and readjusting things, and there are several points where he walks up to like a group of conversation, obviously meaning to join in, and like the person he's walking up behind goes into this new rant, and he just sort of and backs away a little bit. But I do think he's I think he's looking around for people that are talking about the mysterious happenings, the sort of urban legends that are probably growing up around the people disappearing, and especially around that whole town just up and vanishing.
Certainly. Why don't you Make a roll. Do you want to do this with empathy, with notice?
Maybe with empathy.
Okay.
I think he's gonna try like joining in with some of his own weirdest ghost stories or strange things that happened when a fog rolled in from the sea sort of stories.
Then let's have you make rolls. Just feel. I think this actually feels a little bit like resolve. Like you're having to kind of push yourself into the situation, don't you think?
I like that, yeah. I don't have anything. No, I don't have anything particularly added. So, five dice. 6 first time for the sea. This is 1, 2, 3, 4.
And people are interested. That clearly the you kind of fall into that mode, and people will listen to your stories, and though the most how do I put this, polished of them will drift away, but you will see an older gentleman who's been listening to you will step over to you, uh, uh, and will say, "You're Sarmatian." Imagine he has a
Yes.
thick Vodashian, a thick Italian accent when he comes over to speak with you.
Far from home, but originally, yes.
So yes, but I did not. Well, no. How do I say this? What is the word? It is. I have not seen so many Sarmatians at sea. There's so many I know have gone home with the changes there.
And I think he's like searching for a word. Where did you say it's from? What would be his native language?
So Vodace is the sort of Italy thing, and that
Gotcha.
the master of the house is from Vodace. So
I think Osrin will just sort of seamlessly switch over to Vodace as he says, happenings in the homeland, in the Commonwealth. You mean?
in the Commonwealth, yes. But people heading back with the changes, with your uh, new universal nobility that you decided though to make your fortune at sea. Are you from a noble house originally, and that's why you left, or is there some other strange tale? Certainly, you seem to have a bevy of them.
Oh no, I had to leave the Commonwealth for spiritual reasons. But universal, what upheaval are you talking about? I've been away at sea for months.
No. No, you know what I speak of. Years ago, it's 2 years ago when the king gave nobility to everyone to create
yes.
what is the word? Is it dirty in my mouth? Democracy. There, the democratia. This so. But I know that the highly placed people, the elites, some of them fled, and I know some of the Sarmatians in exile came back home. I don't know. I did not know if that was what you see, but a
Not fled, no.
spiritual thing.
Oh yes, I seek.
That's not a euphemism for a woman
Oh no, or
man. Either way, you don't know. Love is spiritual.
No, it's something much more ephemeral than all that.
All right. My name is Molino. I'm a distant cousin of the lady, cousin-in-law of the lady of the house.
Osrin Sokolov.
It's a good name.
It is rather.
So what brings you here to the salon?
Well, mostly the Lord Cavendish, but For my own devices, I'd like finding stories of the unexplained, of the strange, of the possible touches of the supernatural and the otherworldly on our realm. And a town with this many strange disappearances seemed like a perfect opportunity.
You know, they don't speak of it when they tell these stories because they wish to stay in the clean, clear, and rational world of these things when they talk of map makers and experts and scholars who have gone missing, but they don't mention that there have been others. The less adhering to the natural philosophy. I know of at least two touched by the powers of beyond. What some who lump all things together might call sorcerers who have also gone missing.
Were they part of the Avalonian expedition? I heard that they went missing.
No, these are, I know that what is the word for it? A Hexen from Ison, who was here, who a monster hunter.
I think Osrin will make some sort of like whatever a ward against evil sign when he says a hexen.
And there was a man who had studied with some of the spirit magics of the Jaguara, who was in the city, who also vanished not too long ago.
Vanished? How so? The foreigners, especially
Empty
users of
house.
strange magics, tend to move a lot.
Empty house, tables knocked over, dishware.
Oh.
Livestock dead in the yard.
How long ago has this been?
3 days.
Well, both on the same day.
No. That is the most recent one. The Ison fellow that I heard about traveled actually to investigate what had happened at Nostromo and did not return.
Are these sort of disappearances the usual thing in this area? I mean, obviously not to this degree, but you know, there are some areas where people tend to go missing when they aren't being watched.
This is a place, and he gestures, where anyone could lose themselves. There's much room here, many places off the beaten path. I mean, for all we know, they might have gone to. And he kind of makes a gesture. He's clearly talking about the sort of Mayan Aztec mainland things, but he doesn't want to say that because they're kind of scary to the locals around here. Because in some ways, the colonies here exist because those areas don't have an interest in reaching out here. No. But when you have once his chance, twice his coincidence, and 3 times is something maybe you should be thinking about. You know what I mean?
Enough to hope that I'm not number 3. Or you. That would be a terrible.
Well, I am no mage, no sorcerer.
Oh, well, then you should be safe.
Oh, I appreciate that. And he bows and kind of steps away. And you realize in his implication that he may have known that you had a touch of magic by the way he said that last phrase. Taro.
Yes. So.
What are you doing?
The captain has asked me to look for people who are not who they appear to be. So, of course, I checked the first most important one to me, and that would be the duelist. Is she, in fact, a duelist of the skills she's purported to be?
How do you think you want to find that out?
I think I know I have. When you are in Thea proper and you are in a dueling academy, you end up dueling quite a bit across the schools. There's a lot of rivalry and that. And so I know what her school looks like, how they stand, how they hold themselves. Even when they're not ready to fight, they still have certain mannerisms and footing that they try to keep in.
Do you want this wits plus or something plus empathy or plus notice or plus weaponry?
I'm gonna go with probably notice.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. So wits plus notice.
A first time in the scene, so an extra die.
6. Yeah. There's a decent chance, but then it's me rolling. So mediocrity in 7th seat is my byword. Okay. Roll those dice. 2.
2. She seems like she's, a skilled duelist. Like she has that training. She certainly, how do I put this best? She certainly is presenting herself as a, self-made woman, someone who worked her way up. But there's something about her stance and speech that says to you that maybe not as much as she's suggesting. I think that's the falsehood that you may pick up on there.
Okay. That maybe she's had money all along, and this is just
Maybe there's a silver spoon she's taken out of her mouth and put in her back pocket.
Okay. Awesome. All right. That's interesting. And then I think, let's see here. And then I'll look at the people who are supposed to be of the sea. So I guess the amphibian captain would be the next person that I would want to.
How do you want to read him?
I know the sea. Let's see here. Sailing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Just is that a man that I would follow? Is because that's full heart for Taro, right?
Wits plus sailing.
Wits plus sailing. Okay, so 6 for the first roll. Do it again. Dice. Incredible. 5. Oh, so
5?
1. No, 1. Sorry.
One success?
One success. Just so depressing.
So I think there is that moment when you're kind of standing, kind of observing, and he stops and he turns and he goes, "Is there something the matter? Can I help you with something?"
Do you need help, sir?
No, but the way you stand there, the way you stare quietly from the side, it says to me that perhaps we have some business that is unfinished.
And I think Taro looks and says, I always look at a man who is a captain to see if it is one that I would follow. And then just says nothing more.
And he goes, and
Taro just sort of nods and turns away.
and you turn your back to him and you walk away. And he bristles, and I think Lord Cavendish, you've kind of come out, sparkles in your eyes after having seen that sword, and you see Taro have this interaction and step away, and you see the Cetabian captain bring himself up to full height and make to step to follow and perhaps to reach his hand out as if to grab Tyro's shoulder.
Oh, that will go badly. I think I'll try to intercept.
Okay, how do you want to do that?
I'm going to move over and, oh, my dear captain. Oh, I have hoped to have a chance to speak with you. And I'll spend a hero point to activate my...
Oh, that's right, you have disarming smile.
Well, no, I'm going to hit my virtue friendly off my arcana.
Ooh, even better. And he will say, and he looks at you, and you're dressed well, you're impressive, even Avalonian, and he will say, I'm sorry, we have not been introduced.
Lord Cavendish.
Excellent. Are you newly arrived?
Indeed, my ship, the Bunny Queen Ellie, just arrived the other day.
Bunny Queen Ellie, that name's familiar to me, but I can't quite place it.
Well, we do a bit of, serving, of course, our queen, and I tend to think of myself as a bit of an explorer.
Oh, so what brings you here to San Sancha?
Well, truth be told, we encountered a ship and rescued a young lad, a noble boy who had found himself in a spot of trouble and, of course, needed to be sent home. I felt it my duty, of course, to, rescue him from his situation.
He leans in. So you're the bastards who did that. All right, all right.
Oh, my dear sir. Let us say we felt it best to see him away from his current situation.
We're in a neutral place, so I can say nothing to you on that score, and it was certainly not my operation. So these things happen. I understand that the situation was more complicated.
You seem well informed.
I had a note this morning from an agent in our house that had a report from a sailor that said that there had been some sort of strange occurrence that had sunk the ship.
Yes, in truth, it was very disturbing. I'm not one to have flights of fancy, but I believe we've all heard tales of ships that have gone beyond the mortal kin. What I saw that night, and it will haunt me all of my days.
This is too perfect. I think Osrin has sort of drifted into the orbit of this, and as you talk about the tragic sights that will haunt you to the end of your days, there is a roll of thunder and a crash of lightning outside.
And everyone kind of looks and kind of raises their hand as if, that. And he says, there must be a heat storm off the coast. Unusual.
These tropical climates are known for their sudden squalls. This sailor was one who escaped the ship?
No. May I speak freely?
Of course. Gentlemen never tell tales.
As I understand it, someone from your crew came and reported the incident.
Well, then clearly not a gentleman if he's telling tales.
That he was circumspect, but it was appreciated. They informed us of what had occurred and the circumstances of these things. We may be at odds, but there's no reason for us to be rude. And
of course.
And it's appreciated.
We intended a rescue to be handled in a civilized manner. No one wishes to see a ship destroyed.
We were able to send
another lightning crash on ship destroyed.
So we did send a sloop out there to see if there would be survivors on the island itself. That is that information that was given to us by your crew member allowed us to undertake that, and that is appreciated.
Well, let us hope. Let us hope. And again, of course, just the nature of friendly banter. What brings you here?
He says, "Well, I am," and he kind of leans forward. I'm a spy master for the ATC here in the city.
Oh my! Well, you must be quite busy. A port of, well, so many different nationalities arriving. You must find all sorts of things.
True, but then the Lady Bernardino has these salons, and it gathers all of the usual suspects together and makes it easier to spy upon things.
Very convenient for you.
Like yourself, wandering, checking, casing the joint with a care and caution that says to me that either you are looking for someone in particular or you plan on stealing something.
Oh, heavens forbid, stealing something. Let us just say that I did not arrive here planning on any sort of theft.
Ah, fair enough. Carefully put, Lord Cavendish.
Have you noticed anyone in particular that is odd for this area?
So I think this is convince, tempt, or empathy to try and get something out of him.
Let's see. Tempting, I don't know if I have a good... I'd have to offer him something, and he doesn't seem bribable very easily.
Tempt here is more like tempting him to give away more than he ought to, that kind of way.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that then. I like that a little better than convince.
Yeah. Playing off his ego, kind of,
Playing dumb.
Oh, no.
All right. So yes, I think that it'll be tempt. And what do you think this falls off of?
Do you think that's finesse for doing it carefully? Are you being more broad with panache?
Let's go with panache. Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to give you an extra die for Osrin sort of setting the stage here with the thunder to kind of push you closer together a little bit.
All right, so that gives me 7 dice because it's first time using.
Yes.
This. All right. Let's roll them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to re-roll one of the 2s.
Okay.
Six successes.
He says, Master Molino is a cousin of the owner of the chateau, but he is only ever here when something needs to be delivered. He is a courier, and in between, he is here clearly to pick something up.
I see.
Our lady Ciarentaro, the duelist, she has been sitting in such a way that while she has the bravos around her, she has a good view of everyone here. She has a secondary purpose. And I know that you've already picked up on it. But our young Marcia is not who she says she is.
Certainly seems a bit more aware than what she has intimated, yes.
There is another little thing.
Oh, Captain, yes.
He leans forward and he says, when she sat upon the bench, She is what, a slip of a thing? You would guess what? And he says whatever stone for like 80 pounds.
Gotcha.
It seemed to me that the chair gave perhaps a hair more than it
Hmm.
ought to have.
Well,
It says to me that that is someone who has a skillful art of mimicry.
I must say, Captain, your eye is remarkable.
Yes, it is. And yes, yeah, he's beaming that he's been able to do this, and you can tell that he's very pleased with himself. Has no sense that he's given away everything.
Well, my good captain, you have done me a very favorable turn. I hope that I can return the favor.
We shall see. We shall see.
If you'll excuse me, I do think I must at least present myself to the lady of the house.
Please. Osrin, you see Lord Cavendish step away. This you watch this guy just blah 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 blah, and here's where the keys are to my cabinets.
Beautiful.
You do probably hear a sigh from the back of your head of your associate being just sort of chagrined at how easily Lord Cavendish twisted that fellow.
People get really nervous around storms.
Yes, they do. A little setting of the stage, a little play dress here. That's fine.
It's a dramatic gathering of all the important actors. We want to make sure that people understand the gravitas of the situation.
A pause there. Yes. There's another storm coming.
You know something?
No, but I can smell it. There's something in the air. I would say that not all the actors are on stage yet.
Late arrival, good strong drama.
True.
Gets everybody's eyes on you.
So what now, good Sokolov?
Suppose we try and read which way the wind is coming in from.
So what do you want to do, Patrick?
He's obviously got some sort of tingle going on. Is there some way I could share in whatever is setting off his antenna?
Yeah, I think either scholarship or empathy or notice. I think any one of those would be appropriate for this.
Well, let's go with scholarship. I think that probably comes from the monastery he was raised in and the sort of like omens and symbols that the Dievas might be picking up on. Wits. That's 2.
The shadows have deepened here. I mean, nothing obvious, but it's the darks are darker, the shadows are deeper. You know how it gets black in the depths of the sea? The shadows seem to have that weight to them now.
What sort of shindig is this? Do we have weapons? Were we not allowed to have weapons? Do we have ceremonial little weapons? What's going on here?
I think a side blade, you know, a standard like dueling blade or a knife would be acceptable. I think a pistol, put away would be possible, but anything larger like a staff or a two-handed sword or anything like that would be considered gauche, so we say.
I think Osrin has probably like a chopper blade, like a
Yeah.
8 to 10 inch sort of solid rope cutting blade that's got a nice enough like scabbard and hilt to it that it went with the fancy party outfit. And as he turns to sort of keep up with Lord Cavendish, he will make sure to catch Taro's eyes as he like very obviously like loosens the blade of it.
Taro, you have enough skill to pick up on that gesture from your
Of
companion?
course, and I think that as they're going by, Taro very much like bows to Lord Cavendish and picks up behind him, essentially making it very clear what captain he would bow to.
Oh, he's still floating on Cavendish's compliment.
I know.
He doesn't pick up on any of that.
Still.
So your shipmates fall in behind you, Lord Cavendish.
I will, bringing them close in, relate quickly what I've learned. It seems almost certain that nodding kind of as subtly as I can toward Mira. Was that her name?
Her name is Marcia.
Marcia. I believe that is our spy, and the gentleman over there that I believe you were speaking with, Osrin. I believe that is our courier. Now, yes.
There's something off. There's weird ozone in the air. Someone is coming.
It's probably all of that lightning.
No, that was just emotional. No, this is something dangerous. This is something with power. This is something that's waiting for a grand entrance.
See, well, I've certainly grown to trust your foresight, my friend. I was going to say perhaps it was time for us to flush our quarry. The question is, do we think the pass has been made yet? But if you're saying something is coming, why it's coming is the big mystery, I suppose. Taro, I also have concerns that our Lady Duelist may be here with some sort of mission of her own. I'm not entirely sure if that means to protect our problem or if there's something else. But be ready.
I look forward to it.
I'm sure you do, but let us make sure that, be as safe about it as possible.
Sure.
I
have no scars.
Then, Osrin, if you begin to sense this occurring, if you can discern whatever it is that is arriving, then please do sound out. And maybe it is time to see if we can, flush our partridge from the bush.
I think Osrin and Taro look at each other like they have no idea what that means. They look back.
I'll keep an eye on the skies. You watch after the birds.
Very well. And I think I'm going to Oh God, I want to go look at that. How close is Marcia to the sword?
Well, she's out in the garden. The sword's inside.
I don't suppose the door to the garden passes by the sword, does it?
You want to spend a hero point?
Yes.
In that case, yes.
All right. Oh, my last hero point.
For the moment.
For the moment. Then I would like to head towards her, but as I pass the sword, I want to pause a moment and look it over. I want to see if I could figure out what this blade is.
Sure, absolutely. I think that's scholarship.
Yeah, and wits, would that be appropriate?
And wits, and I think university applies for this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So 3 to 6 on these. I'll have 7 dice. All right. Let's see how we do. One, 2, 3, 4.
It is a silvered sword.
Oh, hang on. Let me
Yes.
re-roll. Let me re-roll one since I can.
And I'll tell you more if you can get in.
5.
It is a silvered sword with a cold iron core used to fight against the Sidhe in days of old. A dangerous blade and one of potent power.
Would it be welcome in Avalon now? With the
No.
queen?
No. Oh.
Well, it would be welcome in certain circles. It's certainly in the circles of people who do not care for your good Bonnie Queen's alliance with the Fae and the Sidhe. That they have agreed and served to her whims.
Well, then it probably should be destroyed then, or certainly put out of hands that could use it in a.
Shouldn't be sitting out here, just out in the open.
Yes. Well.
Yes.
There's
Let
a
me
lot
come back to you.
Yeah. Let's come back to me.
Taro, Osrin is watching the skies, but you see clearly Lord Cavendish has a plan because he doesn't go straight for this woman. Instead, he goes inside the house like he's going to do it oblique. What do you do?
I will go into the garden.
Okay. To try and keep an eye on this woman without revealing yourself?
In that way that a person who, how do you say, is at an event that they aren't particularly enamored with and they go to the garden to not be at the event. Yes, that is how it will be.
Perfect. I think you should roll hide.
Oh, lol.
Or even theft would be appropriate here.
I have none of those things.
What?
No.
But you've described it so well, I'll give you an extra die.
You are unkind, so I would be rolling.
I'll let you use wits.
It's +1. All right. I will roll 4 dice.
And it's the first time you use this in the scene, so look at that extra die.
Okay, so I'm up to 5. That's my standard.
Yeah.
First, God, this cat is like biting me when I try to use my keyboard.
She's in a mood.
You will not have any fun. I'm just going to keep trying to type into your character sheet all night long. Oh my God, it's my best roll of the night. 4 successes.
This person is alert and aware and watching. But you you are just as awkward feeling as you're playing. And so you assume the role with a natural confidence
Exactly.
there and kind of stand. So you've got eyes on her.
Mhm.
You have eyes on the sword. Osrin, you are looking around, and there is that moment when you hear kind of a shriek, and you see one of the servants drop their tray, and you kind of look and you see that the shadows have washed in like a tide across the ground. And you will see in the sort of archway coming into the courtyard, into the garden from outside, you see this figure, this woman, and she glides in, and you can see that there are a group of people behind her that have these veils made of metal, silver, that kind of maybe coins that drape over them. And you see her look around, and she matches eyes with you.
And I mean, if ever there was a time for dramatic thunder and lightning, it's definitely right now.
Crackles, silhouettes her, and you hear this voice from the grave say, "I am Jane Gaunt, and I am here for everything." And let's take 5, and we will come back.
You have laid such horrible temptations in front of me, but I fear that as a knight I cannot turn away from this blade.
I know.
So many of my tenants demand that this blade be taken.
And yet it is definitely a how do I put this? Something that you covet that you're about to do something unwise to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do I feel like I've seen that wording before?
Played a really interesting story game, card-based story game today with Anders Gabrielson, a sort of microscope style game using a tabletop simulator. And it was pretty neat. Like it's neat. It's
What was it called?
I can't remember what he calls it, but it's pretty well developed. I mean, it's
it's his own.
It's his own game. It's like microscope, but you kind of do it linearly, and you actually get a prompt for the age, and then there's almost a Dixit style. Somebody asks a question, and you draw some cards, and then from that you come up with an answer, and then vote on which one is the best one. It's really good. Like it's got a lot of potential. It's one of those games you can see being really expandable. And it was pretty fun. Like it wasn't a game, of course, Patrick, but but it was the kind of thing I dig. It is particularly world building, history building stuff. And because it had prompts to work from, unlike microscope, it allowed for, it had a higher level of accessibility. I don't know if you've played Microscope or even Kingdom.
We played Microscope with you and Mad J that once.
Yeah, as you know, it can. How do I put this? It can cause a lot of paralysis. Like it comes to you, and you have all the world
especially
to go
the
from.
early rounds.
Yeah. But this doesn't have that, so I'm very, very excited. Plus, it was interesting to try out Tabletop Simulator, which I hadn't done.
Yeah, how did that work?
It's when you're first starting it, it feels like, oh, look, I'm back in the 90s for the interface and layout. But once you get used to it, it works pretty well. And having seen it work, I'm like, okay, yes, you could do action cards, my Fate game with this with no problem.
Nice.
Unfortunately, there are a couple of board games I wanted to do with it, but kind of looking at those, they aren't either aren't licensed and they don't have them anymore, or because I wanted to do King's Dilemma with online, but they have it licensed for Tabletopia, but only like the prologue. They don't have any of the other stuff. So I think if I want to do that, I'm going to have to do it as a big GM'd thing to manage stuff, which would still be fun because if I could get a group of people together to play that online over the course of, essentially play a legacy board game online over the course of a couple months, I think would be just dynamite.
That would be very neat. Cool.
Yeah. And King's Dilemma is very well done. So I just need to think about that. So let me get my tea all honeyed, which means about a 30 to 40% honey to tea ratio. Tea is disgusting dirt water.
It is appalling.
That's true. That's so true.
Yes.
It is not. Tea is delicious. The honey stuff, though. Oh my God. He's drinking hot water. I need to
put a couple more teaspoons in.
Yeah. The doctor said I should, have more like lemon, citric acid and stuff, and that I should start putting like lemon in water whenever I get it. And I've always avoided that, even growing up in the South with sweet tea and lemons all over the place. And I tried doing it a couple of times, and it tastes about like taking like dead plants and just shoving it around in my water some, and there we go.
What's actually really good is fresh limes squeezed into Coke Zero. That's nice ice cold.
Ooh.
That's tasty. That's some tasty stuff. Even better if you can get a good ginger beer. But anyway, so Osrin, you see this figure, and I do have a picture of that figure in there. So we will get that for you.
I'm so glad you found the picture.
This is I'm still looking for the other picture. I was looking for
Ooh, those are good pictures.
so there's Jane Gaunt, and there's sort of like what the Gaunt's crew looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
They are on the NPC tab.
Okay. You should
Starting
show
on
it
row
to people.
59.
Share it.
Ooh, you should.
Oh yeah, let's see screen share. Everybody
Oh,
see screen.
she's cooler than I'll ever be.
Yeah, the Jane Gaunt. I just like the way it's done with the double sizing too.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very clearly a take off of what's her name from Penny Dreadful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ava Green.
Someone has clearly done that. So, Osrin, I think that you letting loose with that lightning probably gives you a little bit of the edge, the chance to act, and you hear that sound that you don't very much like in the back of your head of your beast, like grinding its teeth, like it doesn't like this thing. It doesn't like whatever Gaunt is. What do you want to do?
I think he takes like 3 or 4 steps forward to where he's away from and in front of anybody else. Just in the silence after her declaration, he just calmly and loudly says, "This is not a place for you. You need to leave." And he'll stand there and wait for a response.
She turns and she goes, "Yes, we'll start with you. Wrap him up, girls." And people start moving.
So one of my sorcery things.
Yes.
One of my major favors from the storm sorcery is call a lightning bolt down during a storm to strike a creature of your choice, killing them instantly. But it is, and I have nice lightning going on up, even if it's not quite a full storm. But it's a major favor, which doesn't take spendable points. It takes a deal with the demon.
And I think your demon will say, "As she is, I can't kill her."
No, it's for the first of hers that comes towards me.
Okay. He says he's in your head, and this all happens at the speed of thought. He says she's something unpleasant.
I think basically I'm thinking to him, kill the one that's in front of me, as he's coming back with, I can't kill her. And there's this moment of confusion from both of us as I mean, you what?
And he says, "I will do this for you, but there is a message I need delivered here in San Sancha. Just a letter, quickly written. I'll tell you what to write. You agree to do that, hand it off, and we have a deal."
Not until after we get out of this alive.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No. But promise me, should you survive, that you will write this letter and you will not question what I have you write.
Fine. Whatever you want to send off, we'll send off. But this...
Exactly as I say, no addendums, no add-ons, no...
She has a really large knife.
Yeah, fair enough. Agreed?
Agreed. Fine. Yes.
And you can see that she has about so clearly this court, she has two groups of them, but then there are clearly two that their attire, their facial coverings are more elaborate, and one of those two lieutenants starts striding forward, and you hear sort of like, you can't see them, but you can hear the jangling of chains.
And like, what's the? I haven't looked up in our space yet, but what's the top of this ballroom look like?
Well, no, you're outside in the garden now, under
Are we?
under the now stormy skies, since you've called that the weather in.
Yeah, there's this like streaking, it splits into a couple of branches before coming back into itself, sort of stutter start of lightning that comes down where it had been sort of, I think before in the dramatic ones, it had been like cloudburst lightning, like across the sky sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like all of that gathering together. And I mean, it's like feet in front of him. This lightning bolt striking down. It is like living through an explosion that's standing there refusing to move.
And it will hit. And this thing has all this metal on it, and the yard is illuminated, and the crack hits the second. I mean, the same moment that cracks, that thunder rolls across, and everyone is taken aback, and this figure just drops. And it's a skeleton that drops, wrapped in molten metal, and just everything else is flared away as it crashes to the ground. And if people were screaming before, they are really screaming now.
And as it clinks to the ground, he repeats again, no more emphatic, but definitely louder. This is not a place for you.
He says, get the others. He's mine. Taro, this happens, and this is a moment of just in a matter of moments, and that flash goes off, and at the corner of your eye, you see that young blind woman is up and moving to get into the crowd. You are so muted.
Oh no! As soon as he heard Osric's voice, it was like before then, he was moving towards her. He catches her as she's going in the other direction towards him, puts his arm through hers, grabs her by the elbow with the crook, and drags her back through the garden and back the other way.
This is actually going to be brawling.
Oh, damn it, Lowell, not brawling.
What?
I am not a brawler.
Then why are you going to physically manhand? How about athletics?
Okay, that I will take.
Okay, because you're not attempting to deal damage. You're just trying to take control.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that. So
difficulty is a 4. Trained agent, not a little waif of a girl.
Yes. I've got surprise on my side.
I'll give you an extra die for the setup and an extra die for the first time using athletics in this scene.
Okay. 6. Gives me 7 dice. Ugh. Okay. I've got 3. I get to re-roll 1. Got a 6, so that gives me 4 successes.
So that'll hit on that's a success with complication, hitting on that difficulty. So I think you've got a hold of them, but you don't like move them out of the area, but you do have control over them, and you will realize that they are definitely not an 80-pound girl, that they are probably more like a 6-foot gentleman with a weapon in their hand. Though they look like a girl, and she does do this little shrill shriek to try and make it look like you are manhandling her. Even though you're both kind of rocking back and forth weirdly.
Oh, sorry. That's awesome. Okay. That sounds excellent.
Lord Cavendish.
Well, clearly there is horrible things afoot. I absolutely must get embroiled in that. But I mean, this does seem a really opportune distraction. And I can't just go wandering in unarmed. That would be just foolish. So I reach up and grab the sword.
All right. Well, give yourself a hero point for doing a truly unwise thing to get the thing it's delicious in your hand. Oh, the second your hand rests in the pommel, it's like you've held it all your life.
Well, I'm curious, do I get a weird, icky feel from it because of being a glamour knight?
You're not touching the blade.
Ah.
But you know you do not want to touch that blade. You do not want that blade cutting you. You do not want that blade against your skin, because that could be very bad. And what do you do after you've grabbed it?
I'm rushing out into the garden to see what's going on. My first action really will be to look to see the girl, the courier, the spy.
Yeah. So I think you will see the people that are kind of moving and reacting, like not in a like panic, freaked out way. Molino is clearly moving indoors to like purposeful, like he's going to go get something. Your Marcia is oh no, don't hurt me, wrestling with Taro.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see Ciara Mentaro is up, but this is clearly not what she was expecting. Like she moves like a duelist does, but this is like well outside of her thing. Your Atabian captain is like he's like a shot getting away from there.
Better part of discretion.
But you will step out. You have that blade, and you see that woman says, "I'll take care of it," and she sees you, and she says, "Change of plans, everyone. That's what I want." And she points at you.
All right. As far as mission goes, I would have thought the spy would have left if they'd made the pass. And I see Taro has them.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with the consideration that the mission is still there. That is still what
you're guessing that he hasn't made the pass, because had he made the pass, he would have dropped the glamour switch thing and been out of here before now.
So I'm going to trust Taro to handle that. I see Osrin faced off against these terrors, and of course the one pointing at me.
Yes.
And I am absolutely overwhelmed with curiosity at what the heck is this. And so I with the sword there and kind of just carelessly in my hand, my gracious, madam, what are you? I am Lord Cavendish. You, Mistress Gaunt? And I'm coming over to give a look at her.
So you move a sort of mid-position in the garden. So Osrin's in front of her. Tara's back, wrestling with us. You're moving up. The two brute squads she has with you. This is the 7th Sea term for our troops, or mooks. They move. One of them essentially moves towards the house. Another actually moves towards where Taro is. And the surviving lieutenant moves to interpose itself between Osrin and Gaunt. And Gaunt raises her hands up like this to her mouth. And she exhales a cloud of ravens that they look like ravens, and then you realize they're black seagulls, and they come flying at you. So how do you want to deal with this attack that's being made on you?
I look and I go, fascinating, as I kind of lift my hand up, and I'll spend a hero point and use one of my Glamour Knight abilities to not be affected by sorcery at all.
Oh, what does that look like? What do we see happen when this cloud of black gulls comes flying from her, emerges, and comes at you?
I think that as I say the fascinating and I kind of lift my hand up, there's a bit of a greenish glow, a bit of a light that kind of comes from my hand, and maybe I glow just ever so slightly. And as they hit me, it's like they burst and split around me, and those that come in close, just in a cloud of feathers, just dissipate. It's not like they explode; they just dissipate as it
turn into smoke and shadow as they burst on that. Osrin, this lieutenant is moving forward, hand extended, and it's clearly like they step over there's probably the crunch of bone as they step on the body of the one you just killed, and their hand comes out flat like this to touch you. What do you want to do?
Well, I have that chopper dagger, and I will pull that out, and I would much rather they not have a hand than touch me.
Okay, so you're essentially defending using your weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
So weaponry plus what?
Brawn. I think these are pretty obviously corpses, and I think he's genuinely trying to chop its hand off above the wrist.
Okay, let's have you roll weaponry plus brawn. First time this scene. So 7 dice.
Yeah,
and don't forget you can re-roll a die.
I can?
Yeah, because you've got a skill rank 3 in weaponry.
Oh, fancy. Neat. Cool. You guys. Oh, geez. 1 out of 8 dice. I got 1.
1. Then you go to chop, there's a slice, and then the hand touches, and you feel just like the fatigue of the earth just wash over you, and like you feel like you've aged 10 years in just a moment, and you're going to take 6 wounds.
Ooh. I'm torn because my Arcana does have a thing that would I get to stop a magical effect.
You could, but you also wanted to take a bunch of damage, and I'm going to give that to you.
So I think I'll take it, and I will save the blank for something that might kill me outright or something in the future. So it's that damage wound 1 plus 1 bonus die to all risks.
So you actually mark the first 4 boxes, and then that dramatic wound is your 5th, and then the one below it. Yeah. So right now you get to all your tests, you get an extra die.
Oh, okay. Risk is just that action-y roll.
Yeah. And the 2 bonus dice actually on the dramatic wounds 2 is actually plus 1 success. Essentially, it raises the things that they do by 1 because I'm not rolling for the bad guys; they're set values. Tyro, Brute Squad, a group of these gaunt matrons moving in. Again, you hear that sort of phantasmal chaining from them as they move forward. And How do you want to deal with them? How do you want to defend against them? Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Let me. I take that back. I forgot how brute squads work. Brute squads don't take an action. Essentially, if the brute squad is not dealt with before the end of the round, they're going to deal wounds to people who are nearby, including yourself. The villains, like the named villains, they get actual actions that have to be defended against. So that's the way the mechanics work on that. So now let's go to the players' actions. We know where the brute squads are. The two named villains have taken their actions and have been resisted. So let's come back to Osrin. How do you want to actively deal with this foe?
Probably should unmute myself. How is the demon reacting to this thing? Does it seem skittish about it?
It like doesn't seem Gaunt? Skittish about it. Like whatever Gaunt is something that it does not necessarily want to deal with right now as it is.
Gotcha. I think Osrin will sort of keep doggedly at it. Definitely still trying to avoid that hand. But maybe like I think maybe spinning around towards the back of it and trying to get at the shoulder and like upper arm rather than dealing with the front there.
Oh, I like that. So I'll give you an extra die for the description. So weaponry plus brawn plus finesse.
Let's go finesse now because I'm really trying to dance around where it might swipe at me again.
Okay. And don't forget your bonus die from your wounds.
Yes. It's an 8. Oh, that's better. And this one's, ooh, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. So you have 2 extra successes. Sorry, 1 extra success. Do you want to use that to like give an advantage to someone else? Or do you want to use it to do extra damage to this? Or do you want to like use it to maybe change the scene a little bit?
Extra damage at the moment because I don't have an overly impressive weapon.
Yeah, you will jam this into their back, and weapons do 3 wounds. Plus that does an extra 1. So with the success, so and that cuts deep. Like it is clearly staggered by that blow, and it's turning around, but it is still up. Let's come to Taro. Taro, you have have control of the agent. You have this brute squad coming towards you. You have a brute squad, heading out into the grounds. You have Lord Cavendish, apparently a sorcerer, standing toe to toe with this crow, this gull spitting woman. What do you want to do? How quiet of you.
I am very quiet. I'm contemplating in that sort of slow time that occurs when everything is happening. Yeah, like that. My first thing is to use my friend Spy as my shield and take a good hit at. So instead of as my dagger, which I would use to sort of. I guess what it is that my right hand, which is what I'd looped through their arm, usually has a dagger in it. I won't have that dagger, but I still have my dueling sword that I can use. The one that I actually attack with. I defend with that, and I will use my spy friend to do any defense should I need it.
Okay, so what we're going to do is absolutely, I'll give you an extra die for the description.
Yes.
I think it's the first time you used weaponry this turn.
Yes.
This scene. The other thing is, if you want to keep control of them, you'll want to spend. Hopefully, you'll get an extra success, and you'll spend that extra success to keep control of them. Otherwise, you'll do what you need to do and lose a little bit of control of them.
Okay. All right. I will do what I can do. So this is going to be, this is probably resolve plus a weaponry. This is that sort of thing of there is a sort of strength rather than finesse to it. So I'm going to use that. So it's 6, 7, and 8. So it doesn't matter how many dice I roll, though. It's always mediocre. So.
Do you want to spend a hero point? Or do you want to save those hero points
Too
to
late.
spend on your friends so that they can get 3 dice as opposed to spending it 1 on yourself?
That was what I was thinking of doing. So, but anyway, I actually got 4 successes and I get to re-roll 1. So maybe 1. And I got 6, so that's 5 successes.
So spend 1 of those extra successes to
keep my spy.
To keep your thing. And
Yeah.
then so you hit them, you do 4 wounds. We've got another extra success to put towards wounds, so 5. So tell me what that looks like as you mow through this brute squad. Their strength 8.
Yes.
You've now cut them down to strength 3.
Yeah, and so I think that what it is that it's when I start to swing this sweet little girl into them as my defense that they kind of get that they're going to get a face full of whatever these are, and they actually are swinging their blade at them as well. So it's both of us attacking is what it is. Now they're left-handed, so they're maybe not as effective as they would be, but
they're swinging desperately, and we see this girl with this oversized sword trying to stab at, and we see that spinning around, and you cut into some of them, and they fall back beneath the flurry of your blades there, and let's come to Lord Cavendish.
Oh, briefly there.
Yeah.
Was that enough to impress Captain Taro's might? It's one of their quirks.
Oh, yeah.
Earn a hero point when you impress a crew of a foreign ship with your daring.
Gain a hero point, Taro. Very nice, Osrin.
Thank you. Yes.
Lord Cavendish.
And yes. So, and I think that I'm probably going to send all of my hopes and prayers to Lord Cavendish at this moment.
Okay.
So,
are you assisting Lord Cavendish?
I'm giving Lord Cavendish 4 dice.
Okay.
You might want to wait, since
Really?
I mean you could do that when you want, because
if you're going to actually roll,
right?
If you're just going to do something perfect, then
I'm going to continue grubbing for hero points, I think,
No.
because I had kind of walked up there doing this, looking at her, and I think I'm going to continue moving towards her, studying what she looks. Madam, you fascinate me. What would possibly make you come here? And I am studying her and just talking, and I'm putting myself in harm's way to gain knowledge is the attempt here. But I do really kind of want to know if I could figure anything out about what she is.
Let's have you roll scholarship.
Because I think that may help, as well as hopefully get me
a hero point to use on your next action to do a particular thing.
Yeah. That'd be wits, I suppose, plus scholarship.
Yeah.
I have used scholarship before.
Right.
So that's 6.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this would be the moment to help me or not. You might want to wait until it's a bit more dramatic, maybe.
Okay.
Me learning is not going to get rid of her, I'm afraid. Come on, roll well. Oh, fudging fudge. There are no successes. Let's re-roll one of these. That is terrible. No successes off of 7 dice.
I offered a hero point.
But now we've already moved forward. You step forward, and I think you are fascinated. And then the sword's in her hand.
Oh.
On a fail, I take my GM's move. I think you look, And I will tell you that you will realize as she grabs, like her hand is out and grabs it, she is an unseelie black court from hell, long gone. How did they escape? Over the waves, and here they are, and now they have that blade in their hand.
And I think that kind of look of inquiry hardens into realization. And do I get my hero point?
You get your hero point.
But yeah, there's real fury in my eyes as I realize.
So let's come to, we've got 2 bad guys that are going to activate, and with the brute squad is going to deal some wounds, Sherry. So the brute squad is going to deal 3 wounds to you.
All right.
If you want to have your buddy take the brunt of that, you can take fewer.
All right. I just want it to be
it's
enough.
Not particularly heroic, though, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think it is. I think I will pull them out of the way, because I did, thread them and I have control. So that would be rotten. So.
And Osrin, and this thing, you've slashed into its back. It turns, and again, it goes to grab you, but this time it's not this. It's like a claw going for your throat, and you don't even want to think about what that's going to feel like. How do you want to defend?
Can I say a thing?
Yes.
This is the thing is I get a hero point if I essentially push another character to live up to their potential, even when it means trouble. And I'm like, Osrin, you gotta help the captain. I want you to call on your DM. So I will give you 4 extra dice to help you in what you are doing if you want.
Okay. So yeah, you get 4 extra dice to your task, but there's Taro calling you out. Use your friend.
Not exactly. It doesn't use that one.
Go for the eyes, boo.
I think they say something more like, "This is your weather, Osrin."
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
now you could save that 4 dice for the next action for an attack, or you can use it on this defense against their stuff.
So okay, system-wise, like
so here's what it is. If you have to negate 7 successes worth of damage that they're going to deal to you.
But like, how much of an action am I taking here in this response time?
This is their action. This is your defend effectively. So you tell me how you're negating the damage that they're going to be dealing to you.
Gotcha. Okay. Then yeah, I'll go ahead and use the dice.
Okay.
Well, no, I'll hold on to them for
okay.
There we go. We're gonna make a decision. Why not? So fine. This is me, instead of trying to defend effectively against this thing, I think this is me trying to move through it and past it to get over there where the captain is engaged. So resolve and something.
Athletics? You haven't used that this
sure.
Scene.
Yeah.
So an extra die for the first time, and an extra die for your wounded status.
Everybody should get wounded. I'm so much better at everything.
You're more heroic.
5, 6, 7. That's 3.
3. So you're going to take 4 points.
Ow. Ooh, that's another dramatic wound that'll probably do nothing but help me.
Well, that one makes them better.
Wait, what?
So what does that look like? What like, is it like is it a pass? What is the hit
Yeah, I think maybe it has like ragged sort of nails there that have hardened, and as I'm pulling through its throat grasp there's like blood running down his neck. It catches on his on Osrin's shoulder, and he sort of has to wrench it out to get away from this thing's grasp.
Perfect. Yeah, and you'll feel that sort of raking cold as it does that. Lord Cavendish, this figure, this unseelie, swings the blade at you. How do you want to negate the damage that you would take? Is this athletics? Is it weaponry? Is it something else? What are you doing?
This may sound a little odd, but I want to. I realize she's almost certainly better with a weapon than I am, so I'm going to realize I will most likely get hit, but I want to make it look like the hit is far worse than it is.
Ooh,
Can I
okay.
use perform?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so perform
Big flex
and
of dice.
finesse or panache.
Yeah, I like either one of those. And take the extra 4 dice because there's a so Tyro, you're down to 1 hero point.
Okay.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I will mark it.
So panache, perform, that's 4 plus 4 plus 1 because it's the first time using it.
Yes.
So 9 dice.
That could be great.
Got to roll better than I did last time. Let's see. Oh, I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you dodge out of the way of most of this blade. Like you don't take any wounds, except that there is that moment when the blade comes close and just nicks your arm, and you feel that like that soul, that nobility that's in you, that glamour flickers and cracks for a moment. So you don't take any regular wounds, but you mark 1 dramatic wound.
1 dramatic wound. How do I mark it?
So you see how we got the little sort of @ symbols? Drop it down, and you'll see it says DW1.
Oh, okay. DW1. All right. Oh, I see. Okay.
So right now you're getting an extra die in all your tests, but like this is
awesome wound buddies.
Yeah, this is the kind of wound that takes longer to heal because it is unnatural. If somebody was shooting you with a pistol, that's equivalent. They do regular damage, and then they'd always also do a dramatic wound.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the end of that round for them. So let's swing back up to Osrin taking their action.
So
you've moved over to the captain. So you've cleared that space. You're close to them, and you notice that cool sword that the captain had, he no longer has.
Yeah, that's weird. He should really get that back. And I think in a voice that is echoed by rumbling thunder up in the clouds, Osrin will walk up behind her and say, "You shouldn't be holding that. Give it to me. And I'm going to spend a hero point for my inspired generosity to have her grant me an object I want at no cost."
Running it through.
And I think in this context, you have if you were a normal human, I'd be going, I don't think so. But I think you're a demon at heart, right? And I think there is that moment when your presence comes across, and then the sword's in your hand. And I think you're surprised. I think the captain's probably surprised, and I think she's surprised. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I think there's that moment of like shock and of, wow, that actually worked. And then he'll just like step half of step back with one foot and do like a flourish and swing with the weapon as he gets a feel for its weight.
Taro, you see Osrin has disarmed this figure and has this, whatever this blade is that the captain had.
And I have my sword, and I think that you'll, like, Tyro looks at Osrin and is like, with the sword, and goes like, will my sword work on her? You can see like their eyes have gotten really wide.
I think Osrin sort of gives the shrug of, I mean, you never know until you try hitting her real hard with it.
Okay.
Maybe go for the face or something.
All right. Let's see here.
We should also still have a group, a smallish group, engaging with you, Tyro.
I know, and I have this spy that I want to run up.
The spy who wants to be let go.
I know. The spy will not be let go. This is the thing. But I think I can get the spy moving when I make it look like we're going to try to evade the other ones, and
Okay.
then I am going to take a run for her. Essentially, if for no other reason than a distraction.
Let's have you make that roll.
Okay. So I do have my dueling ability.
Mm-hmm.
I can build my dice pool for my weaponry. I can use my finesse or my wit. If I spend the hero point, I can use both. So give me 6.
You want to spend your last hero point on that?
Yes, because essentially, I'm not leaving well enough alone. So I think
Okay.
that's
That does seem fair.
So I get another one as soon as I do that. Okay, so 6. So 7. Okay, and then I reroll 1. 4.
4 successes. So you can spend the extra success to hold on to the guy, and essentially you will hit. And I mean, it does hit and physically mark her, but the effect is not nearly what you would have hoped for.
No, but I have, how should we say, presented myself as yet another target to give my captain and Osrin another chance to act.
And between that blow and Osrin grabbing the weapon, I think that Lord Cavendish, you are at an advantage here.
All right.
What do you do?
I think that I catch eye with Osrin as I say, Osrin, on guard. And I look back to her. For the Grail and for Queen Elaine, back to your hellish darkness. And I step forward and bodily just like push. And hopefully Osrin goes to on guard position so that she is shoved straight back onto the sword.
That feels like brawl.
Ugh.
That feels like an extra die for it being awesome. And I already said that you got advantage. So you get 2 extra dice from me.
And I have another hero point, so you can have my hero point because that's why I'm here.
So that's 6 extra dice.
That's 6
And my sword. Sword, your sword.
And brawn or panache.
I like panache with this. Panache plus...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because that was pretty swanky wording.
Yeah,
All right.
plus brawl.
Plus brawl, which I have 0. But I haven't used it before. Does that give me a die?
There you go. It's an extra die.
Yeah.
Ah.
And you're awesomely wounded.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Extra
also
die.
wounded. Wow. Okay. So for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Jeez.
Wow.
You could still crap out.
I sure could. Thank you, Lowell.
Isn't he the worst?
And I nearly did. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I don't think that's crapping out.
So, Osrin, what is it? What does that look like from your perspective?
I think like he's got the weight of the sword there, and he's sort of like he's moving forward to engage. Obviously, the captain here going to duel this thing from both sides. And he sees, or not the captain, but sees Lord Cavendish like grabbing it by the arms there, and he just manages to like brace the hilt of the sword against himself as he's pushing back.
And you are slammed against the wall of the courtyard here. And there is a flash and another crackle of lightning, and it will rain out. Sort of, you can feel it kind of go beyond your control as this figure splits into a flock of black seagulls that explode out like a tornado up into the air as you break this Unseely's fixture. It's Link. It's not dead, but it is wounded, and it will take time to reform, and it covers the sky with black feathers like a blanket for a moment, and then they're gone, and there's just the back of the moon and the crackle of the last of the lightning there.
And I think that as she disappears and you kind of have looked and you come looking back down, since she's gone, the sword is like this far from me, the point.
Yeah.
As I say, Osrin, might I have that sword, please?
Just a moment. And he will turn around to stab that other thing in the neck.
And I think that is it. It is turning like it's the brutes that were here are already starting to disintegrate, but this last one that has any sort of motive force, you can slice and drop it.
And then he'll do like a badass sword spin and like flick to get the gross zombie blood off of it, and then turn it around to hand the handle to Lord Cavendish.
And Tyra, what are you doing with this agent?
I'm looking for the thing that's allowing it to keep the glamour up, so I can take the necklace off or whatever it is that he's got.
I think you
going.
can wrench from the side pocket, like breaking whatever enchantment, but you will see that in the pouch is this. First, you think it's maybe an opal, but it looks like a big black crystalline eye.
Like, oh, lovely.
And you don't like the feel of it.
No.
As soon as you touch it, you're like, this is not a good thing.
I do not treat him, how should we say, gently after that. It is pretty much smash his face into the wall. Yes. And then I'll give it to Osrin to hold. I mean, in the pouch.
So let me ask this, Captain, my captain.
Yes.
What's are you sticking around to tell your story? Are you cheesing it? What's the next step, Lord Cavendish? You have the blade, you have the object. There's chaos throughout here.
I think I'll look at. I saw Tyro, you have it. You've just handed me back the blade, Osrin. And I will say, I think it's time for us to sail. And leg it.
Okay, we will take the spy with us.
Okay.
Um,
Drag them along. You'll hit the streets quickly, and the second you kind of get out the gates, your utes see what's going on, and they fall into like create a mess, like because people are going to start coming after you, and they get in there like a cart is pushed into people, and they've got like tomatoes and lettuce, and they're throwing things,
I
and
will look at their leader and kind of reach into my pocket and toss a bag towards him, which has a full wealth in it.
yeah, he will catch that and whistles to his men to kids to keep this up, and because there is shouting, because someone you hear someone shout, the sword, they've stolen the sword. And it definitely sounds like that's actually what Molina was running inside to get or to protect. And there's all kinds of noise as you run through the streets. And there is that thing on the ship. They can hear noise like people coming and stuff, and that must be our people. They lower the gangplank, and you can run up up to the boat as they begin to
Cast off! It's time
casting
to
off
go.
sails, and we'll see you essentially catch the wind and start to drift out. But it'll be a bit before anybody can get organized pursuit on you, because they've got to call their ships up, they've got to get their people rallied. There's no one ready like you are to head out into the Bay of San Sancha. And I think that's where we'll stop, if that's okay.
that was a crazy fight, Lowell.
Good.
Awesome.
I was like, we're gonna have a socially awkward party thing. No.
Well, I'm going to stop recording, but then let's have a little bit of talk, stars and wishes and stuff. And I'm going to do that.